Could this be, huh? It just doesn't even fit in the frame. Let's see. Let's do it. Okay. Oh, it's a road case. Wow. Guess that's our first clue. Look at this super cool road case. All right, one more box. Okay, this was inside that case. We're getting smaller. Let's see. Ooh. Gosh, what a pretty thing. Let's get rid of this. I've actually never used one of these. This will be interesting. Look at this. So, DC in, USB, MIDI controller, MIDI in, obviously stereo. That's pretty cool. And then some sort of mode switch. Back to here. What a pretty device, huh? What do you guys think? Stereo speakers? Obviously stereo headphones. Yeah, this thing's gonna be wild. I don't even know where to start. All right, let me find a power cable. Check this out. So obviously it comes with a power cable. Plenty of patch cords. I don't even know what those are. I guess this is probably like a silica patch. DC power supply. That is a proper power cable, by the way. This is like what they should be. Look how thick and beef. 10 amps. Well, the input's only rated for 0.8 amps, so maybe this is a little overkill. Oh, anyway. Plug it in, plug it in. Does it do anything? Ooh. By the way, this thing's on its side. It's meant to be upright on this side. Yeah, where do I start? I have a quick idea with the MIDI controller input on the side. We've got lights. Woo! We got sound. I guess that means it's internally patched, right? You don't need to get the cables going to create a patch, but obviously that's where all the fun and magic is going to happen. So far, that's all I know how to do. Let's figure this out a little bit further. All right, so here we are. It's the next day. I read the manual, which apparently this is a synthesizer. Good to know. It's got 3 oscillators here, a filter section, ADSR, AR. It's got a VCA, a mixer section, processors, noise generator, sample and hold, a preamp input, which you can plug a guitar into. Try to see if I can test that out later. Ring modulator, envelope follower. It's obviously got 2 speakers. Let me tell you about the setup really quick. Got audio, stereo audio coming out of this, going into my audio interface in my computer. 5-pin DIN MIDI in. Below the synthesizer, I have a Korg D1 88 key keyboard. I also have USB audio coming in. That's coming from my DAW on my computer, just out of frame over here. Long story short, I can send MIDI to it from the keyboard. I can also send MIDI to it from the DAW. According to the manual, tuning the VCOs is part of the process of working with this synth. I happen to have a Korg tuner. No, this is not sponsored by Korg. I just so happen to have this old beat up guitar tuner from back in the day. This will work. So this has a microphone on it and we can use the speaker. So if I play a note on the keyboard out of frame, this oscillator is now in tune, and we can repeat this process on the next oscillator, right? And the third. And then playing them together. Oh man, that's such a great sound. I think what's great about this is that there's this charm to analog gear where the oscillators could be slightly out of tune from one another and they'll just drift in and out, and it's just lovely. Okay, so that's the tuning section. So we can get rid of this, but you know, I think owning one of these means having a tuner close by. This is one way to do it. Another way to do it would be, since I'm going into my DAW, MIDI is coming out from the DAW and into the ARP, and the audio channel is coming out of the ARP and into the DAW into a separate track, right? On that MIDI track, we can put a tuner. We can also tune the device that way, which is probably better if you're going to use this with a DAW. If you're not going to use it with a DAW, having a tuner close by is apparently necessary. Okay, now that we have it tuned, let's see if we can make some noise. Okay, let's see if we can make a patch with this thing and, you know, probably just grab some samples to record. Oh, a quick word. So this video is not sponsored by Korg or actually anybody. This device is actually on loan to me from Patchworks, a local retailer here in Seattle. They have an online store. They're pretty awesome. And thanks to Patchworks for loaning this to me so I can show it to you. Full disclosure, this is not an overview video. I'm definitely not an expert at this. All I'm trying to do is figure out if I can make some music with it. Let's make some patches, okay? Okay, so I've programmed my first patch on this device. This one apparently is called Trucker Bass. So by the way, this is straight out of the original ARP2600 patch book. I recommend getting that if you have this because it's far more informative than the actual manual. So here's my first patch. Sounds nice, doesn't it? So in my DAW, I have programmed a little bit of Midi. So those notes are being sent over, and obviously audio is coming back. So now I can just record a little loop of this. I've got 4 measures of that, and now I can move on. And that's typically how I work. I'll just actually program MIDI, send it over, tweak the knob till it sounds nice, and then bring the audio back in as a sample, basically. And then I can manipulate it further in the DAW. Okay. And maybe before I move on, I can tweak a couple things and then record another sample. Okay, I managed to make my second patch. This time, this one's called Violin. And I'll just play a little bit on the keyboard down here. I'm not sure that that's like a patch I'm going to use in this specific song, but you know, we got to try all these patches and figure out the device and then figure out what works. So let's keep going. Okay, I made it to my first patch that uses a patch cable. Isn't that exciting? Okay, so this patch is called Cello Section. I'm going to play it on my keyboard here. Let's see how it sounds. It's pretty cool, isn't it? I'm not sure if I can use that in my song, but I'll just sample like a note or two and then we'll see what happens. Okay, welcome to Setup 2.0. I found out that apparently you gotta tune the tuners constantly, kind of like for every patch, I guess. So I guess it would make sense. I just connected a tuner to one of the outputs on the side of the ARP. This way, when I play a note, right, I can tune the thing, and because it seems like it's constant. You could do it however you want, but yeah, this works for me. And also, you know, if you're like me and you don't really know what all the keyboard keys are, you know, this helps a lot. Apparently that's a C. Okay, this patch is called Cowboy Harmonica. I wanted to try it out because it's called Cowboy Harmonica. But it sounds beautiful, right? Beautiful. I like it. So I'm going to sample this in the computer and we'll figure out what to do with it later. Okay, so this is a patch called Big Bass Drum. Here's the patch so you can hear it. I don't know, kind of sounds 808-y. I'm going to record that and we'll go from there. This patch is called 65-cent piano. Here, let's hear it. I thought it sounded really nice, so I thought I would use it for 2 different parts in the song that I'm trying to make. So I wrote a couple parts of MIDI here in Ableton, and I'm going to send that over and record them really quick. From what I read in the manual, you can send a guitar into the ARP, so I'm going to do exactly that. So we've got the preamp section here. We've got this cord. It's going straight out of the guitar from 1/4-inch adapter to 1/8 inch, and I just got a patch cable going right into it. It's real high tech. Here's the sound I created. It's really simple. It's just going through the filter, and then it's mostly just a ton of reverb. I'm just going to jam along to the little beat thing that I made, and we'll see if there's something that comes out of it. All right, so we've got the ARP and we now have the KO routed into it as a source. Minor amount of reverb, not too much. Filters, about just above 1000K, so just a little bit of the top end right off of it. So I'll play you a couple patterns. Let's see what it sounds like. Okay, and I have this other pattern. With all the samples that we gathered from the ARP. And then you see I made all these recordings. Of course, I duplicated the track, so it looks like I made a lot more recordings than I did. But if you look at one of these, I got like a dozen samples or something and brought those into a arranger view here, kind of color-coded everything just so we can quickly walk through. Let me walk you through this arrangement really quick. So I had two different beats. So there's the first beat with the KO. We'll play that. Okay, it sounds like that. And then I had another beat. So I've got those two beats, and you can see here that I've broken this into, first I go into a verse, and then a chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, chorus again. So the first beat plays in the verse, the second beat plays in the chorus. So second verse has the beat drops out, and then it drops into the chorus. That beat drops out and drops into the chorus again. Okay, I also had this bass note. I can't remember what the patch was called, but here's what it sounds like. I think it's a nice bass sound. So I put that into this bridge section. Then we had guitar. So we had, so I have three different guitars samples that I used. So this first one right here sounds like this. Right, and then I have this one that sounds like this. And then I have this one, sounds like this. And it looks like what I did on those last two was I panned this one to the right and this one to the left. Okay, and so then there was also this other patch that I really like called the 65-cent piano, and I had three different samples from that. So right, so that sounds pretty cool. And then there was this one, which I think is the same, but the notes are just, there's a slight variation. Sorry, it's these two that are the same. This one's different. So then there's this other one. Yeah, so the notes go high, and I think on this one the notes go low. The Cowboy Harmonica patch, which kind of started off this whole song idea, I think. I have that just kind of going through almost the entire song. So here's what that sounds like. I don't know, it just sounds like a really nice patch. Then there was this cello section, which I didn't really get a melody or any notes or anything. I just had like three different hits. I used two of those, but I put one at the beginning, the very beginning, that just kind of open up the song. And then it drops into the beat. And then I reverse that, and then I use that as a riser into each chorus section. So here's what that sounds like. And finally, I have this bass line here. And the bass line I have just playing in the choruses. Another thing about this arrangement, there's no processing here, actually. All I did was like adjust gain on the clips. Before I play you the song, I have a few extra notes. Working with the ARP was kind of bittersweet, I guess. I mean, there's definitely some sweet sounds that were coming out of this thing. I mean, the spring reverb alone is amazing. I didn't really get to dive into it. I mean, I really only spent about 4 or 5 hours with this thing. So, but yeah, beautiful sounds come out of this thing. And certainly it'd be great for everybody that's into sound design, whether you're even like film scoring, it would be an awesome tool for you. If you're into sound design, making samples, that sort of thing, beautiful sounds. If you're recording, definitely
It just sounds great. On my arrangement, I did basically no post-processing. Everything was just coming out of this unit, so it just sounds that good. Other than the drum sounds, I wish I could have tweaked those a little bit more, but yeah, for the sake of what this thing could do, I just left it at that. So patching is probably where the bitter part comes in. Spent maybe 30 minutes building a patch or something, and like is it supposed to sound like this? Or I think the bottom line is patching requires patience with this device. Very special thanks to Patchworks for letting me borrow this device. If you're not familiar with them, their shop in Seattle, they sell synths like this one and other great synths. No, they're not sponsoring this video. I'm just giving them a shout out as friends of mine. If you're in Seattle, I would say drop by and check it out. It's definitely worth checking out. They also have an online shop, so check it out. I'll put an affiliate link for this device from their shop in the description. Be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this. I really had fun making this video. It was unscripted, very different for me. Also, I'm going to post samples from this device as well as the song I made with it in my Patreon, so be sure to check that out. All right, let's hear this song. All right. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.